All right, we're back for another episode over here at Speed Addicts Garage. By the way, the event last Sunday on the 24th over at Piedmont, that was an awesome event. If you missed that or you missed the video, I'll see if I can add it up here or down there somewhere. But today we're going to be working back on the Toyota. So we got a bunch of parts in that we've been waiting for. We got our throttle body gasket. We got our intake manifold or the lower plenum to the cylinder head gasket. And then we also got the gasket that goes in between the upper and lower plenum. All right, guys, so now that we got all the gaskets we need, we can install the intake manifold for good. But before we do that, there are a few items that we need to install. The two items we need to install is coming from one of the brands that we like. We like this brand because they offer a lot of cool products, and that brand is Radium. And what they have here this time is two block-off plates. These two block-off plates are for the EGR system. I like these because they're made out of like a billet aluminum. They're pretty thick. And then with new technology nowadays, you don't need gaskets. You can go into the CNC machine, cut out a provision right there so that you can set an O-ring in there like so. If you look at it from the side, the O-ring sticks out just enough to make a good seal. So let's go ahead and install those components real quick. All right, we got the lower plenum all bolted up and secure. And before we install the upper plenum, I'm gonna utilize this opportunity to install our fuel rail and our fuel injectors of choice. Let me show you what Adam chose. All right, guys, here are all the items that we're using for the fuel system, minus the fuel lines. Let's start from the left. All right, starting off with one of the main components is the fuel rail. Of course, we're using Radium out of Oregon, made in the USA. So this rail is good. Look like it's made out of some kind of billet aluminum. It's pretty sturdy. It's got like a retro design to it. I like it. We got a couple of caps. We got a couple of mounting brackets that's gonna mount the fuel rail to the lower intake plenum. This here appears to be maybe some kind of injector spacer of some sort. We got a couple of vibrant fittings. We got a couple of Fragola fittings. All these fittings that we're using are O-ring style on the side that screws into this, so we don't got to worry about Teflon tape or anything contaminating the fuel. We got a nifty little fuel pressure regulator. I've never seen this before until Adam bought it, but this is rather interesting. Matter of fact, I think Justin might have one as well, but it looks like a fuel pressure regulator. This fuel pressure regulator has a special fitting. If you can tell, it's got like a slit in it. And I think that this kind of slides over the slit and then bolts up there and there. The second, or maybe even the first major piece of the fuel system is the injectors. If you ain't never heard of this company right here, they don't make nothing cheap. And there's a reason for that. We decided to go with the ID1300s. I believe that Adam will be running flex fuel to get to his horsepower goals. This little kit comes with a couple of connectors for the injectors that we're gonna have to wire in. And then he also went the extra mile and got this new item here. And what it is it's almost like an oil filter, but it's actually a fuel filter. It's got, I don't know if that's for like differential pressure or whatever the case that is, but it's nice. Let me open it up real quick. It's got this nice little lever action right here to open it up. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of moving. It's got like a little slide, a little groove that locks it into place. But let me go ahead and open it up real quick, show you what it looks like inside. Wow, look at that, boy. Got that nice little micron filter. I don't know exactly what the microns is, but that's the part number in case you was wondering. Also another product made in the good old USA. But this is what we're working with. So let's see if we can go ahead and figure out how to install some of these items. Look how beautiful that look, guys. They have flat black on purple. I tell you what, boy, Adam got some great taste. The only issue we got at this moment, it ain't really an issue, is we need to rotate that fitting over here to the other side. So let me do that and then let's test fit this. All right, everybody, check out the finished product. Let me show you what I had to do to get this accomplished. We sold the OEM fuel rail, so we didn't have that spacer. I ended up having like a rubber spacer and also had a metal spacer, but everything is secure. All the injectors are basically tight, meaning that you can't really move it like you want to. So I think we good. We're missing one more plug that goes right here, but besides that, that looks good. The fuel rail or the fuel regulator is set up nice. I got everything turned so that when you check it out, you see who it's made by and you know where to buy it from. So let me mock up the upper plenum. All right, we got everything installed and look how gorgeous it looks. That purple with the flat black. We got the Radium Adapters for the base of the IDInjectors that go into there. I had to make a spacer. Adam sold his OEM fuel rail, so I think we sold that with the spacer. It didn't have one, so I found something that I had laying around. So it's like a rubber, I think it was like a rubber mount from work that we use for our radiators on our tugs. And I did the same thing on the back. I tried to put the regulator here, but the problem is that this is where the throttle body go, and the throttle body was hitting it. So luckily enough, we got enough space in the back to put the regulator back there. If you can see a little bit of the green. So I mean, everything worked out pretty good. So now we're at the point where we got to utilize those plugs that came with the IDInjectors. This is the OEM Supra plugs. I don't know if it's a Toyota thing, if it's a 1993 thing, but like all these plugs is trash. If it ain't the piece that you compress to remove it, it's broken. It's actually the plug itself is broken. So let me show you what we're gonna use for it. So there's the packet of IDInjector clips. Let's open them up and spread everything out. So there we go. We got all our 6 connectors. We got the little pieces that get connected to the OEM wiring, which I get to use that tool that I used before. Then we got these little rubber pieces that kind of go in the back, protect water from getting in through the back side of the plug there. So let me go ahead and put that stuff together. Hey, in case you forgot or didn't see one of my previous videos, the tool that we're gonna use to crimp these down is called an open ring crimp. I picked this one up on Amazon. The name of the company is right there. I don't want to butcher it, but you see it. It looked like an IWIS and another S, and that's the part number down at the bottom, IWS-2412M. And this is what we're gonna use to get the job done. All right, speed addicts, let's do this together. Step 1, find your right pigtail. Step 2, cut it off. Next, strip your wires. After you strip your wires, you want to take your little green little grommet deal and slide that over top. If you have a little trouble, you can always put that petroleum jelly on that thing. Not the KY, but the petroleum jelly. All right, next you need to find the right slot. I'm gonna start with the slot closest to the long section here. Slide your wire in there. Make sure everything is good and tight. And you just squeeze it. I mean, you just pull the trigger. Just like so. Wow, that mug is in there. Look at that. Look how good that looks. You see that? And then after you do that, you got one more crimp to make. And ID's data sheet, the way they tell you to do it is you want to take that little lip on this green section. I don't know if you can tell, you might have to zoom in on it, but there's like a little lip. They want you to crimp the upper crimp on that little lip. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We can press that a little bit. Wow. like that. We're gonna repeat that on the rest of them. Hey, check this out, guys. I dropped one of these jokers and I thought that I was done. And then I come back over here and look at the kit and look how many of these jokers extra they give. Hey, thank you, ID. Thank you. Hey, check this out. You know you lost your mind when you thought you lost something, but then you found it, meaning that it was never lost in the first place. I tell you what, I still like you though, ID. Hey, and by the way, if you live in North Carolina, Big Bertha here, aka Tropical Depression Big Bertha. I tell you what, man, this season we have gotten quite a bit of daggone rain. I tell you that, quite a bit. And after you're done, you take your plug and you slide this part right in through the back. It only go in one way, so I can't hardly see no more. I'm about blind, so. And they said the polarity don't matter either. So I'm gonna try to keep it the same. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the solid color as number 1. Dang, man, go in. Okay, this ain't working. Hold on, I'm gonna have to cut y'all back on. Hold up. All right, there we go. That's the finished product. Slid that puppy right on in. So when I'm all done with all 6 of these, put a little electrical tape around that so that mug look better than OEM.
Now is the effigy.
All right, guys, here go the finished product. Everything looks good. All the pigtail wires wired in. We got a couple of miscellaneous plugs, but since we are no longer needing anything evap or emissions related, we don't need that stuff no more. So, job well done. The last piece of the puzzle for the fueling stuff is we're missing one more plug that goes here. And then of course we got to plumb our fuel lines. Just to let you know ahead of plan, we're doing -8 feed. And then we're also using PTFE lines as well, so, because like I said, or like you guys already know, we're using flex fuel on this beast to make that 700 horsepower. So I think that's gonna do it for this episode. The fuel lines will be a separate episode. Just like always, subscribe, like, and share. We got a tremendous amount more parts to put on this thing. I mean, it's gonna be fun. So stick around and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, before I close though, boy, that turbo, woo!